can't. There is no escape. Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the month of Fright. Today on the agenda is Frontiers of the Mind. Apparently it starts out like a Windows 95 computer. Okay. I guess we have no choice, viewer. Or do we? No, we don't have any choice. There was the illusion of choice. Frontierofthemind.exe, here we go. A study on the Maze Master's experiments. Play CD-ROM, I guess. Interesting. About. Between 1987 and 1994, the British channel Network 7 broadcasted 112 episodes of the TV game show Maze Masters, an interactive adventure targeting younger audiences. Oh, that's cool. It's just showing images. Oh, right. Produced by Third Eye Picture Studio during 8 seasons, Maze Masters was an adventure role-playing game staging groups of teenagers trapped inside a castle. Bertram, the Dungeon Master, selected an adventurer who would be put on a helmet which partially blinded them. In theory, the contestant could only see their feet and nothing of the world around. Their 3 companions helped them from afar. Only those companions could see the rooms in the trials. Every episode followed the same pattern, although the riddles and settings could change. Only some parts of the show were aired. The different sections of the CD-ROM explores the format and the backstage of the show. The idea is to shed a new light on the strange events which have been revealed afterwards. Names and last names of all persons involved were changed and their faces digitally transformed. 5 years after the show, the truth about the mystery surrounding Third Eye Pictures' activity has not yet been verified with certainty, therefore we wish to protect the anonymity of the persons involved. Okay. Let's go back to menu. Players. Let's see, casting. The children chose to take part in the show were selected according to a particular process. First, they had to send a cover letter to the production and give a certain number of details, such as their school reports, their hobbies, and the sports they practiced, along with all their food intolerances or medical treatments. When their application was accepted via the standard letter, the kids were invited to the closest audition. Once there, they were introduced to the show's writer and to the members of the shooting crew. Then the casting directors would have them pass a test called Intuition Test, which according to the witness was probably a set of disguised Gansfield protocol. The kids had to take a telepathy test involving cards covered with specific symbols, and during which they had to guess the Zener card chosen by their companion. Children always describe this experience as a funny session, and apparently they never realized they were taking a cognitive test. In all likelihood, the kids' roles during the show were determined by the results of these tests. Allegedly, the kid with the lowest results was assigned to wear the helmet during the episode. Therefore, the choice made by the Dungeon Master was not arbitrary, it had been planned long before. A few days later, the kids would receive a phone call telling them if they were selected or not. That's lovely. Maybe I should read that. The Dungeon Master? Let's go. Bertram was a main figure in the adventure. He was both a companion and a potential threat. His objective was to help the players when they needed assistance and to make their journey harder if they sailed through the challenges. He knew by heart all the rules in the game, and he had access to the solutions of all the riddles of the castle. As the Dungeon Master, Bertram had controlled the game's rhythm. In case of conflict, he was the only judge entitled to decide. Okay. Bertram is an iconic character of the show, and he left his mark on a whole generation of young viewers. Although the investigation revealed that he knew nothing about Third Eye Pictures' doings, Bertram got himself noticed for other reasons. Several letters of complaint were sent to Network 7's headquarters reporting the faint fits, migraines, and headaches affecting some children. These incidents mostly happened when the actor would perform the Bertram stare during the final shot of the episodes. This stare was described by young viewers as hypnotic and terrifying. Several adults reported having similar reactions while watching these sequences. The Dungeon Master is the only character who is never replaced during the 8 seasons of the show. Controversies. Oh, this is where it gets good. During the game, the children seemed delighted and it positively affected the show. Okay. The audience ratings were among the best of the channel, and show even won several prizes, thanks notably to the wonderful work of the writers' crew and of the artists in charge of the show's artistic direction. Okay, sounds good so far. But as for the different experimental protocols, they were always so subtle and so well designed there was never any suspicion, and they never disturbed the kids in the short and medium term. At the end of each adventure, the kid would receive a certificate on which was written a text supposed to cleanse the different parapsychic suggestions to which they have been exposed. Although we do not know the exact number of accidents which occurred, 2 of them have been certified. The first one involves prototype number 2. This version of the helmet made it possible to show the adventure's mental health in real time. Thanks to captors connected to the pulse into the back of the kid's eye, the software was supposed to display a face, which would change color according to the stress level of the player. That's weird. During one episode, the face suddenly turned into something gruesome, the skin peeling off on its own until there was nothing left but a sinister skull. What the hell? The kid wearing the helmet started to cry uncontrollably, and the episode had to be stopped in order to remove the device from the helmet. The second incident was even more striking and apparently is not related to the helmet itself, since no particular device has been integrated during this episode. In the course of a discussion with the Jester, the player suddenly had an important nosebleed beneath the helmet. The so-called nosebleed episode turned out to be the starting point of the problems related to the Jester. See the Jester incident. Oh, that's lovely. The Bristol Kids. The case of the Bristol Kids date back to the pilot episode, which was supposed to convince potential broadcasters to buy the show. The contestants were around 14 years old at the time of the shooting, in 1986, and they must be around 30 today. We ignore the protocols the players were exposed to, and it took several years for the disturbing points to be revealed. Actually, let me think about that. That would be 16, so like 2002? Huh. Anyway, the 4 young winners pursued brilliant studies right after the show, although they initially had low to mid grades at school. They all developed particular skills in biology and math, so much that they skipped several years and joined special curriculums. So they became super intelligent. The most disturbing element is that these young people did not know each other before the show, and they did not keep in touch in any particular way after the shooting. Eventually, in 1994, the 4 former contestants were invited all together by chance to the prize-giving ceremony of the Mathematics Award, and that is where they connected to the dots. Proving the connection with the show would ultimately involve some speculations with our participation to Maze Master's pilot episode is the only common point between these 4 gifted persons. No similar event has been reported with the other contestants. Okay, this seems like a lot of lore, to say the least. Characters. Allies. During their adventure, the groups would meet several allies willing to help them. In addition to the Dungeon Master, they could rely on the assistance of Maldor, the Chamberlain. He could be prankish and slightly terrifying, but he never refused to help the adventurers. Easily identifiable with his red gown and his crown of white hair, his help often appeared as clues related to the forthcoming riddles. The contestants could also walk into Selma the Shepherdess, a young woman lost in the castle too. She never clearly explained how she arrived there, but she would give the contestants advice and directions. The help of Cora the Sentinel could be determinant. This mercenary from the marshes surrounding the castle knew all the weaknesses of all the entities abounding in this place. Other characters would appear occasionally. Girin, the apothecary, mischievous and wily. Alina, the Crimson Princess, the only bearer of the crystal rings. The character list is still long. Meldevish, the groom, keeper of the dragon's eyes, King Khan's servant. Baguette, the innkeeper, well versed in the gossips going around the castle. Oswalt, King Khan's counselor, compulsive gambler but faithful advisor. Salkes, the shapeshifter elf, we do not know of any of his other forms. Merdhim, the wizard, descendant of the first druid. He was the only character who could bring a contestant back to life. Okay then, cool. Enemies! Unfortunately, in Maze Masters, the enemies outnumbered the allies. In this section, only the human-shaped antagonists are listed, and no other kind of creatures see entities. Lord Fear was one of the most striking ones, as the final enemy the adventurers would fight in the throne room at the end of the journey. Lord Fear, okay. He ruled over several sadistic henchmen, blindly serving his dark ambitions. Aside from the Dark Lord, there was Queen Nergal, who could control the main entities of the castle. His faithful servant and counselor was the Jester himself. As from Season 4, new enemies the show. Cast turnover. Although the incidents related to the cast of the show remain quite minor, they were no less noteworthy considering the evolutions discovered later. Why'd the music get so creepy all of a sudden? It appeared that some actors got so lost in their roles that they were unable to break character. The actress playing Liliana was found asleep on an unsaddled horse somewhere in London's suburbs. And on the performer playing Wotton the Wizard set his garage on fire while trying to find the Philosopher's Stone. Yet the cast turnover certainly remains the most curious element. Except for a few rare exceptions, most of the actors refused to keep their roles after their first shooting. Many reasons were mentioned, but the most common one was related to issues with catering on the set, and in particular with the presence of something in the meat. What was in the meat? Was it human flesh? I must know. The Jester's incident. Can't wait for this. How to be even more unsettling. Oh, it's a video. Oh, this is gonna be good. Wait, do I have to enter in a code to see it? Oh, it's just 1 through 9. What the hell? Is this related to the Jester's incident? You're right, I think I'm a little creeped out. You know, just a little bit. What in the unholy hell did I stumble into? Okay, let's go back to reality. We saw the characters, now let's see the rooms. Safe rooms. Probably self-explanatory. Enigma rooms. Although there are many dangerous rooms in Maze Masters, the adventurers can take a break in some of them. The first ones were called Enigma rooms, and they were of all sorts. Maths, riddles, brain teasers, rebus puzzles, or anagrams. In these rooms, the 3 assistant players can be particularly useful. Bertram would only give clues if the team manifested signs of weakness. What the hell does that mean? That sounds creepy. Encounter rooms were rooms where the bearer of the helmet would meet a character or a peaceful creature. On a very few occasions, an Enigma room could serve as an encounter room. Okay. Empty rooms. Empty rooms were statistically very rare, but they can still be found from time to time. They can be mistaken for the rooms inhabited by the wall monsters. Although they could offer a short break, they were neglected by the adventurers who never stayed there for long. Some said they felt uncomfortable in these rooms, while others would explicitly speak of the fear they inspired them. But the most common emotion mentioned by the contestants is that of feeling of an unbearable melancholy. Despite their very young age, the contestants said they could experience the emotions of an old person on the verge of death. What the hell? Some of them would feel regrets and remorse related to notions they cannot explain. The production eventually stopped using these empty rooms due to players' negative feedback. However, some of these rooms never ceased to appear in spite of this decision, triggering a wave of panic and confusion among the production crews. What the hell? Healing rooms. Healing rooms were rather rare but appreciated when they appeared. They gave the adventurers a few precious health potions, and without them, some teams would probably have failed. In addition to these rooms, some items from the choice trial could also provide some health points. During the last scene of the adventure, some players could also receive some bonus potions according to the number of health points remaining at the end of the journey. Okay. Okay, lethal rooms. Can't wait. Bomb rooms. Some rooms contain huge bombs set up by Lord Fear's henchmen. If a player stepped into one of these rooms, their friends had only 30 seconds to guide the player towards the closest exit. If they could not do it within the allotted time, the bomb exploded and the game was lost. Apart from the bomb rooms, the players could also walk into what was called a trap room. There were different types of them, and just like the bomb rooms, the player had to follow their friends' indications in order to escape the threats. Circular saws, blades tied to pendulums, huge gaps in the ground, there was a great number of threats. If they failed, the players would lose points. If the number of health points reached 0, the game was over. Against all odds, no incident was reported in these rooms during the show. Against all odds. The night rooms rarely appeared, but they made an impact when they did. The bearer of the helmet had to find a way to cunningly escape the wrath of the enemies. Galahad appeared in one of these rooms. So far, the production crews have asserted that they still ignore how the statue displayed in the headquarters' hall had appeared, or what kind of mechanism brought it to life. Even if the contestants' injuries were harmless, the event is one of the reasons behind the show's cancellation. They were actually hurt in those rooms. The random rooms are the least documented rooms since none of them were aired on TV. They looked more or less like normal rooms, and the only feature that would tell them apart was the apparition of specific enemies in these rooms. The only random room which could be recorded off-air was the one containing the pit brain, as it was called by those who mentioned it. Nonetheless, they were unable to describe their interactions with this entity. What the frick? The gameplay of the green rooms was particularly distinctive. When a contestant stepped into one of them, they had to roll a dice, and the dice itself would then appear in the room. Oh, okay, cool. Huh. Once the dice rolled, it turned into some kind of portal emerging in the room. It was actually a gate which would take the player to another part of the castle, and the exact location was decided by this dice's result. This mechanism appeared in several episodes. During one episode in Season 3, the portal apparently opened a gateway to a dark and terrifying dimension. This place was systematically called the Dark Place by all the contestants who came back from it. This incident happened twice during Seasons 6 and 8. The feelings described by the contestant express a sudden and frightening existential angst which would follow them until the last scene of the adventure. See Healing Rooms. The contestant who went to the farthest point into the heart of this dimension found what would seem to be a watchtower. He mentioned a dreadful presence overlooking from the tower, but he remained unable to define it. Red Rooms. The Red Rooms are located in a zone called the stomach, a kind of organic mental hell designed to try the contestants' nerves. The issues with the meat started right after the first apparition of the setting, and in all likelihood these two elements were connected. After a few airings of this setting, the production definitely removed it, since they had received many complaints from families who deemed it too gory for such young audiences. Yellow Rooms. Okay. That's lovely. Take me back. Take me back, Johnny. Up until now, the Blue Rooms have remained mysterious. Created by Jay as some sort of mental trial, which can only be crossed with a substantial mental health, the Blue Rooms would trigger particular visions related to a dizzying dimension reminiscent of brutalism. Every contestant, even remotely fragile, can only stay there for a very few minutes, and they all mentioned a heavy feeling of sadness. The corridor leading to this dimension is itself a challenge to cross. Notably, there are cruel imps and a horrible giant with a distorted face. Okay. If the contestants manage to avoid them, they can step into the zone. Several images have been recorded, but their content makes every attempt to analyze them useless. Jay's page on the matter seems to have disappeared from his research notes. Spooky. Spooky, spooky, spooky. Secret Rooms. Dark Rooms. Oh, okay. You think it might be dark enough, viewer? Meat Rooms. This section addresses one of the strangest mysteries surrounding the show. Right after the first jester left, a certain number of events happened, all meat-related. Apart from the panic concerning the catering, several rooms in the castle were found packed with pieces of rotten meat, taking the place of the props that were supposed to be there. Even if the crew in charge of the scenery denied everything, the events blew out of proportion in increasingly disturbing ways. The production even had to install security cameras in the set in order to try to identify the culprits, but it remained useless. It would seem that the meat appeared on its own. Apparently the radical decision from Season 6, introducing three-dimensional scenarios, put an end to these manifestations. The different documents found after Jay went missing prove that he was particularly interested in aura phenomena and the Kirlian effect. Obsessed with the alternative ways that would allow him to corroborate his theories, Jay was convinced the auras could confirm the efficiency of his protocols. In one of the rooms of the castle, there were special cameras which would capture and show auras on screen. Quite effective. Unexpectedly, only the aura of the room itself appeared, but no human presence was recorded by the captor. However, the room seemed to glow with different colors according to the number of health points of the contestants. Since the results were not satisfactory enough, the process was quickly dismissed. Well rooms. The well rooms would appear at random. If a well had actually been built specifically for the needs of the show, the original prop painted by an artist disappeared from the show. After this theft, wells started to emerge from the ground in random scenes. Just like the meat apparitions, this issue was stopped by the shift to digital scenarios. The most striking well was the one leading to the purple dimension, see keys. Huh. Oh wait, okay, you can't click on the key itself, that makes sense. Entities. Well, wall monsters. Wall monsters were special features of the show and find very few examples in other bestiary of legendary creatures. It's difficult to say if they are allies or enemies since their behavior was always unpredictable. They would randomly appear in empty rooms and nothing in particular seemed to announce their arrival. If the wall monsters made sure to terrify the assistant players, they were only a voice for the bearer of the helmet. Huh. Somehow they represented the spirit of the castle, they knew its history, and they had watched the adventure of all the players. When we tried to decipher the particular way they communicate, we find their words a sort of ancient wisdom. Their size and colors reveal how dangerous they can become. However, the production crew asserted that they were not to blame for the apparition of a face in the altar room during the Season 4 finale. Creatures. Oh, look at all them. Look at all them creatures. A lot of creatures, viewer. I can't actually click into any of them. Anomalies? Those are anomalies, alright, okay. Self-explanatory, I guess. How do I get out of here? Can't. There is no escape. Oh, I see. Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Isn't that wonderful? Objects. Various food. The contestants choosing food during the choice trial expressed their need for energy and motivation. Makes sense, the players seem to develop different physical or cognitive capabilities according to the producers. Products they would choose. The only incident happened in episode 7, season 3, when a roast chicken was offered to the contestant during the choice trial. The players started to weep with joy, hit by a bit of neurotic euphoria in front of the chicken, and the sequence had to be interrupted. It was the first and last time that cooked food was offered during the show. Oh, that's lovely. The contestants favoring fruits and vegetables felt they manifested a need for vitality and energy or an overwhelming thirst for life. Apparently vegetables were a more physiological sort of food, whereas the fruits seemed to affect the players on a physiological plan. Okay then. Sure, why not? Gold? Each contestant who would choose the gold bar seemed to be searching for eternity and the inner wealth. Oh yeah. The longing for accomplishment was the almost pathological, and it often appeared through hasty and inconsiderate decisions and through overconfident reactions. And the contestants who would choose gold usually led their team to victory. Okay, they were more ambitious, I guess. Oh, here it is, the key. The contestant who would choose the key expressed a longing for freedom and knowledge and need to unlock a zone in their own mind or to express their determination to resolve a complex inner conflict. Apparently, a specific protocol is implemented to the bearers of the helmet who would choose the key. Many among them could access the land of the dream. The process generally followed these steps. When a contestant chose the key, it triggered the apparition of a special well in one of the nearby rooms. If the contestant decided to step into it, they could access this purple dimension, as Jay would sometimes call it in his notes. In all likelihood, one of these extra-dimensional translocations gave the greatest number of results. The dimension was finally detected thanks to the technology integrated to the helmet number 4. The images show a dominant feature of pink and purple color, but we ignore if this dimension really adopted those colors or if it was an effect produced by the recording process. After the descent into the well, the contestant would reach a forest. Several explorers of the purple dimension mentioned the apparition of doors which seemed to lead into darkness. If they stepped through one of those doors, the contestant would be brought back to the initial forest. Huge breathing meatballs would then appear. Network 7 studio apparently caught fire right when Jay tried to make a more thorough map of that zone. The only human figure who could be found there was some sort of mute ferryman who never reacted to the contestant's solicitations. Okay, then. I think I'm gonna skip the rest of those just because I'm running out of time. Experiments are always the most interesting. Okay. After Jay went missing, it appeared from the different documents, which were found that he was particularly interested in experiments related to remote viewing. Jay was captivated by the CIA's research on the matter, and he had consulted the entirety of the research conducted by Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff at Stanford University. In his notes, Jay mentioned the mysterious Oracle project, and we believe it could be related to Protocol 12 during the last 3 seasons of Maze Masters. The helmet was probably equipped with a device allowing a kind of remote viewing, but no proof of results related to that research have ever been found. Okay. What the hell? Hallucinogens. This is gonna be the most interesting one, I'm guessing. Oh, okay. Brain camera? Never mind then. Third Eye Pictures, Theories, Archives, Network 7, missing footage. Let's go, bro. Oh, that was something alright. Bonus. Video games, what? Maze Masters 1987? Oh, interesting. It's almost like they recreated what it would be like if they turned it into a video game. Cool. It's more like an adventure game with some basic graphics. What about 1991? That looks more elaborate. Definitely a point-and-click dungeon crawler from the looks of things. Crazy, bro. What about Gods of the Labyrinth? Doesn't even have a JPEG on it. Oh, it's just gone to time, I see. Oh, I can't go back. I think we're stuck here, viewer. Never mind. We can totally go back. That was a lie. Okay, theories? Let's end this off with theories. Oh, this is just random theories. Cover-up theory, cult theory, mind control, shadow people, hallucinations, pocket dimension. Never mind. That's not related to the experiment itself. Symbol, bone, miscellaneous, what? Among all the objects offered to the contestants, some did not belong in any particular category. A jug in the shape of a buffalo horn, a spell book, a figurine, an hourglass, a dish towel, a bar soap, a vase, bell. If I choose the hourglass, will I gain the ability to stop time? Waldo! You know I had to do it. Several precious stones were offered to the contestants. Those who would take them during the choice trial expressed through this decision a need for anchoring and for personal stability. Several stones of color were submitted during the trials, and apparently the red ones were the stones that would trigger the greatest number of negative reactions among the contestants. Well, because it looks like blood. I think it's about it for now. I like this. It's very much a parody of, exposed kind of things. It's kind of cool. I could see something like this happening for real. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracies and a lot of, experiments gone wrong and things like that throughout the years that have been determined. There are some sick people out there. But that is going to have to be it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Make sure to spread this video around like deepest excesses of your mind. And I will see you next time. Now go out there and capitalize on life. Peace out, have a good one, and have a nice and pleasant day.
Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed what you saw, feel free to check out more in these videos in front of you. And if you're a real junkie for all things gaming like I am, you can always subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of more. I'm dying to see you again.